Welcome to Papa Junk Shop. Now I'll get started on this lathe project again. I'm going to work on this riser block. That piece of aluminum that we had left over from cutting out of the big piece was this one, and I already went ahead and squared up the sides with a fly cutter on the mill, and I drilled a 9/16 hole through the center, and I got it laid out to make a groove here. It's going to be the same as this groove for this piece, because we're going to simulate what this goes onto. So I'm going to take it over on the mill and we'll mill out that slot. Hopefully I'm not going to have a million chips again. And I'll just keep doing that, going down until I get all the way, well, as far as I can go, and then I'll turn it over and do the other side. I got it marked out too. So I'll see you when I got that done. Now we got our hole through. And now I got to figure out the layout for the next cuts. Okay, I got some layout lines to where I want to come to. I'm just hogging out the middle for now, close to the lines. And then I'll change to a smaller cutter so I can get a more finer, accurate cut, and we'll get that to the right measurement. But I just wanted to hog most all of it out of there. I'm taking a little over 1/4 of an inch. For the chips not being all over again. The vacuum cleaner wasn't working with this. About one more pass down through there and change the cutter. Got the smaller end mill in. I've got this side done right up to my layout mark, and I've got a couple more passes to go over here real light. I'm going to get really close, and then I'm going to trial fit it each time I take just a whisker off. So I'll go ahead and show you one of my next to the last cuts. few thousandths to go. So I'm climb milling, and that makes almost a mirror finish on there. This is probably a new cutter, I'm not sure. If it isn't, it wasn't used very much. So off camera, I'm going to go ahead and get that tweaked in. Okay, I got it deburred down to the right size. And she fits. Yeah, fits in there nice and snug. There she is. So I don't feel any wiggle in it at all, so we got a good fit. So next I gotta create the pocket for this. That'll be the next group of chips. Now I got the pocket all milled out, and I also made this, I think it was 9/16. I made it 5/8, and I made it go just a little bit further to give me a little more travel. So this is going to sit on there, and then this drops down. There, like so. And I can got my movement. My next thing is going to be, I got to machine this so that it fits this, and then we got to get the height exact for these centers. I'm still debating on how I want to go about doing this, getting the measurement and everything, but move the camera over here. And hopefully you can see. Move you down here a little bit. You can see how much I gotta go. So I gotta measure from the very pointy tip of that to that. And then we gotta mill out here so that this slides on there, and everything's got to be just right. So, and I noticed that if I shove this up there so they overlap, I don't see any light through it, so that's a good thing. So gonna do some measuring and thinking, and because I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have to take this in and out of my setup for a trial, a time or two. Now this originally had some shims in here, so apparently even from the factory this was a difficult thing to get correct, or else somebody put them in there to make up for wear or something. I'm not sure. So gonna get started on that part. Well, I think I figured out how I'm gonna measure that distance between the two centers. I got a couple of I guess you call them parallels set on the lathe bed, and I'm not going to move them for both measurements. I'm going to use my height gauge, and this center is one that was just ground, and it's got a really nice pointy point on it. And I'm going to get my optivisor, get right down there and get a really accurate reading, and then I'll take this center out and I'll put it in here, and I'll do the same over here, and then I'll get the difference between the two. That should tell me how much I need to mill off the bottom of this. But before I can do the tailstock side, I'm going to have to get my hold down clamp extended, and of course that one is half 12, and I thought I had half 12 tap and die, but if I got it I can't find it. So I'm going to try to come up with a solution for that. Then once we can clamp this down in place, because that's how it's going to be when it's being used to get the measurement on this side. So I'm going to go to work on that part. Well, went in for lunch and had a bowl of soup and thought about this a little bit and changed my mind on trying to work with the point of this thing. I'm going to work with the outside edge there, and what I'm going to do is turn this on, bring it down. It's at 0. So now, without moving anything except this, I'm going to take this center out. And I got the clamp fixed for the tailstock so we can lock it down. Tap that in. And I'll move this up. Okay, we'll lock it down. Yep, she won't move. I'll bring this up. Bring that down. That should be the amount that I need to mill out of there. 235 thousandths, I believe it says. Yep, 235. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back and forth, switch them back and forth a few times, and take this measurement several times and see if I'm getting some consistency. Well, I took measurements a bunch of different ways over and over, and I discovered that when I run this out to the end, that it was headed, the front of it would be down. There was 14 thousandths difference between all the way in and all the way out, that it was headed downhill. So apparently that's why they had the shims in there to begin with. So I have 14 thousandths worth of shims in there, and now when I crank it in and out, I get the same reading from in to out. And I tried it several places up and down the bed on the lathe to make sure there wasn't something going on with the bed, because it is beat a little bit right here, but it seems, where it actually rides seems decent. But so I come to the conclusion that I need to take off 250 thousandths. And if I take the 250 thousandths off of this backside, and I take 236 thousandths off of this side, they should bring this up level. So I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna try to do. I get it set up and use my DRO and some measuring stuff. I should be able to get it, I think. So that's going to be the next move, get it set up in the mill and see if we can get that made. Okay, I got the other part of the riser block machine. Did 250 on the one end, 236 on the other. I got it mounted back on the lathe and clamped in place and extended all the way out. That's what we got. Looks pretty good to me. Now if I run this in, had to put a piece of cardboard in the back of it so that it would focus. So move this up. Lock it down. That's when it's all the way retracted. So I think I'm happy with my results. I'm glad I discovered that was going crooked and was able to machine that so I wouldn't have to have any shims. Now the only thing I got left to do is on this part is this is where you adjust it this way. I've just got it sitting there now. So I got to drill and tap some holes here to move this adjustment up here. And I think I'll use these holes to mount a bracket on the inside to keep this part from moving on here. So that's going to be the next part of the project. Yeah, I've been busy working on this. Let's see. I've got holes drilled and tapped for the brackets that are going to hold it on to the base. And I used a couple of angle iron, pieces of angle iron, so you can see them down in there. And I used the original holes for the adjustment. They were 3/8, and a 3/8 fine just fit in there snug. So I got that mounted there. And then this is tapped, so this will set on there like so. And then 2 bolts go up through to bolt this in place. So this will be permanently mounted. And this part for the adjustment, I've drilled and tapped and counterbored for these 3/8 cap screws. Now the original one's stuck way out, so I kind of wanted to eliminate that. That's why I counterbored that, and I got plenty of meat here for the threads, so I'm pretty sure that's going to work out okay. And I haven't shown, this is what I'm going to use to extend this down. Now this was half 12, this is half 13, but I can screw it on there and it goes about that far before it starts getting stiff, before the threads bind up a little bit. So actually it's a good thing that it's doing that, because all I got to do is tighten that a little bit and it'll stay right on there. I won't have to have a jam nut or anything on there. And then I just come up through with a bolt on the bottom side for the plate that goes on the bottom of the ways. So, I thought I'd show you how that's going to go. So, let's see. Let's put her together. So that goes there. Get this all right. So, just turn this over. Okay, someplace there's a couple of bolts there. Okay, so that fastens that onto there, so that won't move. this goes out of there. And that moves back and forth for the adjustment. That's what these are for. Okay, there's another one of them laying around here somewhere. Used to be anyway. Oh, on the floor. Oh, I hate that one. It disappears completely into the garage black hole. That happens way too often. So I'll just offset that like that, and then you can see, hopefully you can see it's moving it over. So that'll allow us to center it, or if we want to make a taper, which I think in 40 years I've only offset my tailstock, I don't know, maybe one time. Okay, so they're snugged up. So, oh boy, she's getting heavy. So now I can start this on there. Alright, now I'll go set her on her lathe. I'll turn you guys off for now until we get her. Okay, got her all mounted and adjusted just by eyeball. They're right nose to nose. And if I loosen this up, slide this back, lock it back down. It still looks good. So I think the tailstock is done except for fixing this handle. And kind of like this lock thing. Boy, it's really on there. So I guess the next thing is going to be we have to make a riser block for the carriage next. Of course we got to deal with these gears to drive the lathe screw too. So I think I'll save that till last. I guess we'll call this one a video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't, please subscribe. We'll see you next time. I'm not sure how soon it's going to be, because I think I got a couple of household projects I got to get out of the way to make keep peace in the family. So, see you next time.